Exhaustion had claimed her so completely that she barely registered whose shoulder she slumped against during the flight. Just a stranger, impeccably dressed, emanating an aura of danger and opulence. When her eyes fluttered open, her world had irrevocably shifted. The man beside her wasn't merely a fellow passenger, he was a notorious mafia boss. And, astonishingly, falling asleep on him had, in some unfathomable way, made her his. Emily Carter had endured 37 hours without sleep, a count she meticulously maintained. Each grueling minute ticked away on her phone as her 6-month-old daughter, Lily, wailed through another agonizing round of teething. The crumpled eviction notice still resided in her purse. The last $143 she possessed was tucked securely in her bra. This red-eye flight from New York to Chicago represented her final, desperate gamble, a job interview at her cousin's cleaning company. It wasn't glamorous, but critically, it offered accommodation, a haven, if she could just reach it in one piece. The nearly empty plane was a small mercy. Emily had scrounged the ticket fare by selling her laptop, her grandmother's cherished ring, and, she felt, a piece of her soul. She had contacted every friend, only to be met with silence from most. As she stumbled down the aisle, Lily, at last, quiet against her chest in the baby carrier, the flight attendant cast that familiar look, the silent plea. Please don't let your baby cry. Emily was too utterly drained to care. Excuse me, she whispered to the man in the aisle seat, her assigned window seat just beyond him. He remained motionless. Sir, I need to... The man slowly turned his head, and Emily's words caught in her throat. He was younger than she'd anticipated, perhaps in his mid-30s, with sharply defined cheekbones, and eyes so profoundly dark they appeared black in the cabin's dim illumination. His suit, she was certain, had cost more than her car, back when she'd actually owned one. Every aspect of him shrieked danger and prosperity, the kind of man who commanded deference without uttering a single syllable. Window seat, she managed to articulate, her voice barely a whisper. He scrutinized her for an extended moment, his gaze drifting to the slumbering infant, then returning to her face. Without a word, he rose and stepped into the aisle. He was strikingly tall, well over 6 feet, with shoulders that seemed impossibly broad for the confined space. Emily slipped past him, inhaling a faint trace of expensive cologne, and collapsed into her seat. She was already drifting off before the plane had finished boarding. 3 hours later, turbulence jolted her awake, though only fractionally. Her head had rolled to the side, and a wave of mortification washed over her as she realized she was resting against the stranger's shoulder. Solid, unyielding, and encased in exquisitely tailored fabric, she flinched upright. "Oh God, I'm so sorry." "Don't move." His voice was a low command, underscored by a surprising razor-sharp edge. Emily froze, then she heard it. Raised voices near the cabin's front, shouting. A woman screamed. "Mommy!" she whispered, her hand instinctively shielding Lily's head. The stranger, no, not a stranger anymore, something far more menacing, stared straight ahead, his jaw rigid. His hand had moved inside his jacket. 3 men in black ski masks burst down the aisle. Passengers shrieked. Flight attendants recoiled, hands raised in surrender. Emily's blood ran cold. The lead gunman's finger pointed directly at her row. "Adrien Romano!" he bellowed. "Your bride dies tonight." Time seemed to shatter. The man beside her, Adrien, moved with a speed Emily hadn't thought possible. His gun was already drawn before the attackers finished their declaration. The first shot reverberated like thunder in the enclosed space, and a crimson stain bloomed on the lead gunman's mask. Lily began to scream. Emily desperately tried to shield her baby, but a second assailant grabbed Emily's hair, yanking her violently into the aisle. "The bride!" he roared. "We have the bride!" "I'm not!" Emily gasped, but the man wasn't listening. He pressed a gun against Lily's carrier, and Emily's entire world constricted to that single, terrifying black barrel. Adrien shot him through the throat. The third attacker opened fire wildly. Passengers dived under seats. Adrien shoved Emily down, his body covering hers and Lily's, as bullets shredded the seats around them. Emily felt the searing heat of gunfire, smelled gunpowder and blood. She heard her daughter's terrified cries blending with screams and utter chaos. Then, a sudden, terrifying silence. A ringing silence. Adrien pulled back, blood smeared on his face, not his own. His dark eyes locked onto Emily's, and she saw a flicker there. Recognition, understanding, concern. "They called you the bride," he said softly. "I don't know what that means," Emily stammered, shaking so violently she could barely speak. "I don't know you. I just needed to get to Chicago. They think you're her," his jaw tightened. "My enemies think you're my fiancée. But I'm not. Tell them I'm nobody." Adrian's expression turned grim. He stood, stepping over inert bodies with practiced ease, and retrieved his phone. Around them, passengers wept, some injured, all utterly traumatized. Flight attendants attempted to soothe the panic, but Emily could see the raw terror in their eyes. "Too late," Adrian said into his phone. "They saw her. They tried to take her alive. Full security team when we land." He paused, listening. "No, she comes with me. If I leave her, they'll kill her within the hour, just to be sure." "What?" Emily struggled to her feet, clutching Lily tightly. "No, no, no, no. I have a job interview. I have to—" Adrian looked at her with an expression that, in another man, might have been pity. In him, it felt like a death sentence being signed. "You fell asleep on the wrong shoulder, Emily Carter." He must have seen her driver's license when she dropped her purse. "Your old life ended the moment they called your name. Now you're coming home with me, or you're dying tonight. Those are your only options." Emily's vision blurred. The plane was descending. "Emergency landing," someone murmured. Lily's cries had diminished to hiccuping sobs. Blood pooled in the aisle. "Who are you?" Emily whispered. Adrien Romano smiled, and it was the coldest thing Emily had ever witnessed. "I'm the reason they wanted you dead," he said. "And now, I'm the only reason you'll stay alive." The plane's wheels hit the tarmac with a violent bounce, and Emily felt consciousness draining away. The last thing she perceived before darkness claimed her was Adrien reaching for her, his blood-stained hands surprisingly gentle as he caught her fall. When her eyes fluttered open, Emily's first thought was that she had died and landed in some bizarre, twisted version of heaven. The ceiling above her was adorned with a Renaissance-style fresco, depicting angels and demons locked in an eternal struggle. The bed beneath her felt like a cloud, enveloped in Egyptian cotton. Soft morning light filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows, and she could hear bird songs from outside. Then, memory crashed over her. The gunfire, the blood, the masked men. Lily. Emily shot upright, her heart hammering. "Lily, where's my—" "She's here," a woman's voice, calm and professional, responded. "Right beside you, Miss Carter." Emily's head snapped to the right. There, in an ornate bassinet that likely cost more than Emily's annual salary, Lily slept peacefully. A woman in her 50s sat in a nearby chair, knitting. She wore a neat gray dress and possessed kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Who are you?" Emily's voice cracked. "Where am I?" "I'm Mrs. Chun, the head housekeeper." "You're in Mr. Romano's estate in upstate New York," the woman said, setting down her knitting. "Your daughter has been fed and changed. She's had no trouble sleeping. You've been unconscious for 14 hours. Emily scrambled out of bed, ignoring the dizziness, and scooped Lily into her arms. Her daughter stirred but remained asleep. She wore a new onesie, designer by the look of it, clean, safe, healthy. "I need to leave," Emily declared. "Right now. Where are my clothes?" "Burned," Mrs. Chun stated matter-of-factly. "They had blood on them. New clothes are in the closet. But, Miss Carter, you should know." The bedroom doors opened without warning. Adrien Romano entered as if he owned the place, an acute realization Emily now had. He did. He had changed from his blood-spattered suit into dark slacks and a crisp white shirt. Its sleeves rolled to his elbows. He looked as though he had stepped straight out of a magazine spread featuring dangerous, beautiful men. "You're awake," he said. "Good. We need to talk." "I'm leaving," Emily announced, backing toward the window, with Lily clutched to her chest. "Thank you for whatever this is, but I'm taking my daughter and going where?" Adrian's tone was patient, as if explaining simple arithmetic to a child. "Back to your apartment?" "Oh, wait. You were evicted 3 days ago. To that job interview in Chicago? The one you missed because you were unconscious in my house?" Emily's face burned. "How do you know about—" "I know everything about you now, Emily Marie Carter, age 26, from Newark, New Jersey. Daughter of Linda Carter, deceased, father unknown. No siblings, no college degree, $3,000 in debt. One daughter, Lily Rose Carter, 6 months old. Father not listed on the birth certificate. Adrien moved closer, his dark eyes never leaving hers. I also know that 4 different mafia families now believe you're my secret fiancé, and they all want you dead. Emily's knees went weak. But I'm not. I'm nobody. Just tell them. Tell them what? Adrien's voice hardened. That I, Adrien Romano, head of the Romano family, allowed a random woman to sleep on my shoulder for 3 hours on a commercial flight? That I showed weakness, softness, humanity? He laughed, a sound devoid of humor. They'd eat me alive. They'd see it as proof I'm going soft, and they'd strike within days. That's insane. That's my world. Adrien stopped a few feet away. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to play the role of my bride. You'll appear at family functions, be seen at my side, and convince everyone that you are exactly who they think you are. Absolutely not! Emily's voice rose, and Lily stirred against her shoulder. She forced herself to speak more quietly. I won't lie. I won't pretend to be someone I'm not. I just want to take my daughter and disappear. You can't disappear from these people, Adrien said quietly. They'll hunt you, they'll find you, and they'll kill you just to hurt me. Before Emily could respond, the grand doors swung open again. 5 men entered, each impeccably dressed in expensive suits, their eyes reflecting the same cold, calculating intensity as Adrien's. They gracefully positioned themselves around the room, much like strategic pieces on a chessboard. The council wishes to meet her, declared the eldest, a man with silver hair and a distinctive scar marring his cheek. Adrien's jaw visibly tightened, but he gave a curt nod. Emily, these are my senior advisors, my counsel. Vincent Moretti, the silver-haired man, stepped forward. I am Vincent Moretti. I have served the Romano family for 40 years. His gaze swept over Emily with undisguised disdain. This is your bride? This girl with a bastard child? Watch your mouth, Vincent. Adrien's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper, laced with menace. Another council member, younger with slicked-back black hair, interjected. The entire East Coast knows about the attack on that plane. The Russos, the Costanos, the Vitalis, they all know. They've seen the security footage. They know she was with you. Then it's simple, Emily said desperately, her voice cracking. Release a statement. Tell them it was a mistake. Tell them the truth. Vincent let out a hollow laugh. Tell them the truth? That Adrien Romano, the most feared man in 5 states, allowed some random waitress to fall asleep on him like a common man? That he protected her and her child as if they mattered? They do matter, Adrien stated quietly. An unnerving silence descended upon the room. Vincent's eyes narrowed. Whether she is your bride or not is irrelevant now. She must stay. To deny her, to send her away, is to admit weakness. It's to tell every family that we were fooled, that we're vulnerable, that we made a mistake. He turned to Emily. You will play this role, girl, or we will ensure you can never tell anyone the truth. Emily grasped the gravity of the threat. She clutched Lily tighter. How long? She whispered, her voice barely audible. Until we eliminate the threat, Adrien replied. Until my enemies completely believe the story and stop trying to kill you. It could be months, it could be a year. And if I refuse? Vincent's smile was unsettling. Then your daughter grows up without a mother, if she grows up at all. Emily's gaze swept over these men who trafficked in violence and power. Then she looked at Lily, innocent, small, and utterly dependent on her. I'll do it, Emily said, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her veins. I'll be whatever you need me to be. But if anything happens to my daughter... Nothing will happen to her, Adrien interrupted, his eyes meeting hers. For a fleeting moment, she saw something profoundly human in their depths. You have my word. Emily didn't trust these men, nor their world, but she trusted she had no other choice. Then I suppose I'm your bride, she conceded. Vincent nodded approvingly. Good. The engagement party is tomorrow night. 24 hours proved woefully insufficient to transform into someone else. Emily stood before a full-length mirror, barely recognizing the reflection staring back. The dress, a midnight blue silk, undoubtedly cost more than her car ever had. Her hair, styled by someone named Marcel, who had clucked disapprovingly at her split ends, felt alien. Makeup skillfully obscured the dark circles under her eyes. Diamond earrings, borrowed, as she was firmly informed, glittered at her ears. She looked precisely like Adrien Romano's bride. She felt like a charlatan. "Stop fidgeting," Mrs. Chin admonished, adjusting the dress's neckline. "You'll wrinkle the silk." "I can't do this," Emily whispered. "They'll know. One look at me and they'll know I don't belong here." "Then don't let them look too closely." Adrian's voice echoed from the doorway. He had been watching her, she realized, her heart thrumming. For how long? Mrs. Chin quietly excused herself. Emily turned to face Adrien, who looked like death himself, impeccably dressed for either a wedding or a funeral in a black tuxedo. "Lily's asleep," she said, the familiar phrase now her constant refrain, the only thing that truly mattered. "I know," he replied. 6 guards outside the nursery, another 4 patrolling the hallway. Adrien crossed the room with that predatory grace that always set Emily's instincts ablaze with danger. "No one gets near her without my permission? You promise?" "I don't make promises I can't keep." He stopped before her, scrutinizing her face. "You look terrified." "I am terrified." "Good, use it." His hand rose to adjust one of her earrings, his touch unexpectedly gentle. "These people are sharks. They smell weakness. If you pretend to be confident, they'll tear you apart. But if you're obviously afraid and still trying to be brave, that's believable. That's a woman in love, attempting to fit into her fiancé's dangerous world." Emily's breath hitched. He was right. God help her, he was right. "What do I call you?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Something flickered in his dark eyes. "Adrien. Just Adrien." He stepped back, offering his arm. "Ready?" "No." "Perfect. Let's go." The ballroom might have been plucked from a movie set. Crystal chandeliers gleamed, marble floors shone, and women, dripping in jewels, mingled with men in expensive suits. Over 100 people had gathered to celebrate the engagement of Adrien Romano to his enigmatic bride. Every single head turned as Emily entered on Adrien's arm. "Smile," Adrien murmured. "You're madly in love with me, remember?" Emily forced her lips into an upward curve, a gesture that felt like baring her teeth to a pack of wolves. They descended the grand staircase together. Whispers erupted like wildfire. "That's her? So young. Where did he find her? I heard she has a child." Adrien's hand tightened on hers, a warning or comfort, she couldn't discern. He led her to the center of the room where Vincent Moretti stood with several other older men in expensive suits. These were the true power players, Emily recognized, the ones who dictated life and death. "Gentlemen," Adrien said smoothly, "my fiancée, Emily Carter." Emily felt their eyes dissecting her, searching for weakness, for deception. "Miss Carter." Vincent's smile didn't quite reach his eyes. "What a surprise you've been." "And you, Mr. Moretti." Emily's voice emerged steadier than she felt. "Thank you for coming." "I wouldn't miss it." Vincent gestured around the room. "The Romano family has many friends here tonight, and many rivals, all curious about the woman who captured our Adrien's heart." A woman approached, perhaps 40. Beautiful in the lethal way, a knife is beautiful sharp, dangerous. Her red dress surely cost more than Emily's entire worldly possessions. "Isabella Russo," she introduced herself, her Italian accent thick. "My family and the Romanos have been competitors for generations." Her eyes swept over Emily. "You're not what I expected." "No," Emily managed. "I expected sophistication, breeding, someone worthy of the Romano name." Isabella's smile was pure poison. "Instead, I find a girl playing dress-up." Adrien's expression turned glacial. "Careful, Isabella." "Oh, I mean no offense," Isabella said, sipping her champagne. "I'm simply curious about the child everyone's whispering about. Your heir, presumably?" The room seemed to hold its breath. Emily felt a blush creep up her neck. They all knew. Of course they knew. Lily was only 6 months old. The timeline didn't align. Everyone here could do basic math. "My daughter," Emily began. "Our daughter will be raised with love and protection," Adrien interrupted smoothly, his arm sliding around Emily's waist. That's all that matters. The whispers exploded. He claimed the child. Did you hear? He said, our daughter. That means the baby is his heir. That baby isn't his, Isabella declared loudly, her voice cutting through the din. Everyone knows it. She was probably pregnant when they met, desperate enough to trap a man like Adrien Romano. Emily's face burned with humiliation. Every eye in the room was fixed on her now, judging, calculating, sneering. She yearned to run, to snatch Lily and disappear into the night, never looking back. But running meant death. Staying meant survival. You're right, Emily said quietly, and the room fell silent once more. She looked Isabella directly in the eye. Lily isn't Adrian's biological daughter. I was pregnant when we met. And yes, I was desperate to give my child a better life than I had. But Adrien, she looked up at him, and the lie came easier than she anticipated. Adrien chose us anyway. He looked at me and my daughter and decided we were worth protecting, worth loving. Can you say the same about your husband, Mrs. Russo? Isabella's face flushed crimson. Apparently everyone knew her marriage was a frigid business arrangement. Adrian's lips twitched, almost a smile. My fiancé has had a long day, he announced to the room. We'll be making our rounds shortly. He led Emily away from Isabella's furious glare, through the throng of staring faces. Emily's hands trembled. That was either very brave or very stupid, Adrien murmured. Probably both, Emily's voice quivered. They hate me. They all think I'm some gold digger who trapped you with another man's baby. They think you're smart enough to secure your future. In this world, that's a compliment. They paused near the windows overlooking the garden. Emily could see guards patrolling below, protecting them or trapping her. She wasn't sure which. Adrien and a man approached, younger, perhaps 30, with cold blue eyes. Congratulations, your bride is unexpected. Marcus Vitali, Adrien said tightly. What do you want? Marcus smiled. Just to meet the woman worth starting a war over, and to see the famous baby everyone's discussing. His eyes found Emily's. A 6-month-old heir to the Romano fortune. How convenient. She's not, Emily started. She's mine, Adrien said flatly. The baby's mine, Emily's mine, and anyone who suggests otherwise won't live to repeat it. Marcus raised his hands in mock surrender. Understood, though I have to wonder, what's so special about this particular woman? Adrian's jaw tightened. For a moment, Emily thought he might actually strike Marcus. Then the lights went out. The ballroom was plunged into darkness. Women screamed, men shouted. Emily heard the distinctive sound of guns being drawn. Don't move, Adrien hissed in her ear, his body instantly shielding hers. Then, from somewhere in the darkness, a voice called out, Lily, where is Romano's heir? Emily's blood ran cold. They were here for Lily. After an agonizing 30 seconds in the dark, the lights flickered back on. False alarm, someone called out. A circuit breaker. But Emily saw the flicker of doubt in Adrienne's eyes. A mirror of her own. He didn't believe it. Neither did she. We're leaving, Adrien stated, his voice a low command as he guided her towards the door. Now. They didn't run, opting instead for a swift, controlled pace that belied the building terror. Adrien's hand was a steady presence on her back, while his other hand remained hidden inside his jacket, a silent promise of the weapon he carried. Guards materialized around them, instantly forming a protective cordon. Status! Adrien barked into his phone as they ascended the grand staircase. Emily's heels clicked a frantic counterpoint to the fierce beat of her heart against her ribs. Every shadow now a potential hidden threat. Nursery secure, boss. 6 guards in position, no breaches, came the muffled reply through the phone. Yet no wave of relief washed over Emily. Instead, a chilling dread crept up her spine, like 1,000 tiny spider legs. They reached the 3rd floor, a long corridor lined with the stern gazes of deceased Romanos in their ornate frames. The nursery lay at the very end. She could see the stationed guards, then a sound that froze her to the core. Lily's cry. Not her usual whimper, but a raw, piercing scream of terror. No! Emily broke free from Adrienne's grasp and bolted, her elegant heels forgotten, her expensive dress hiked up without a thought. Lily! Emily, wait! Adrienne's shout was swallowed by the distance. She burst through the nursery door and stopped dead. Two men cloaked in black tactical gear loomed over Lily's crib. One clutched her screaming daughter, the other aimed a gun at Mrs. Chen, who lay crumpled on the floor in a widening pool of blood. The 6 guards, all dead. Silenced weapons. A professional hit. "Put her down," Emily demanded, her voice astonishingly steady despite the torrent of fear. "Please, she's just a baby." The man holding Lily turned, his covered face revealing only cold, calculating eyes through the mask. "We don't want to hurt her. We have orders. Bring the child alive." "Why?" Emily advanced a step. "She's innocent. She's not part of this world." "She's Adrien Romano's daughter," the second man interjected. "His heir, worth a fortune in ransom, worth more in leverage." "She's not his!" Emily shrieked, the frustration boiling over. "I keep telling you people, she's not his biological daughter." "Doesn't matter." The man holding Lily moved towards the window. "He claimed her. That makes her a Romano. Now, back away, or we drop her from this height and say you did it." Emily's vision blurred crimson. She'd grown up in New York, in neighborhoods where survival meant learning to fight. Twice jumped, once mugged. She knew that desperation could unlock unforeseen capabilities. Her hand shot out, grabbing the heavy lamp from the side table, swinging it with all her might at the nearest man's head. He crumpled to the floor. The other raised his gun, but Emily was already in motion, propelled by a primal, maternal fury. She launched herself at him, clawing at his eyes, biting his hand, fighting with the ferocity of a wild animal. He dropped Lily. Emily's heart seized. She dove, catching her daughter mere inches from the floor, rolling to cushion the impact. Lily's screams intensified. The assassin, recovering, raised his gun again. Then Adrien appeared in the doorway, a figure of vengeance. He fired twice, hitting the man in the chest before he could pull the trigger. The second assassin, the one Emily had struck, staggered upright and lunged at Adrien. They grappled, furniture splintering. Adrien, faster, stronger, and expertly trained, broke the man's arm with a sickening crack before putting a bullet through his skull. Silence descended, broken only by Lily's whimpering sobs and Emily's ragged breaths. Adrien stood amidst the bodies, his tuxedo spattered with blood, his chest heaving, his hands visibly shaking, a sight Emily had never witnessed. "Is she hurt?" His voice was raspy. "Emily, is Lily hurt?" Emily frantically examined her daughter, running her hands over Lily's tiny body, searching for any injury. No, she's okay. She's not hurt." Adrien crossed the room in 3 quick strides and dropped to his knees beside them. His hands hovered over Lily, trembling, as if he feared to touch her. "They wanted her alive," he whispered. "They were going to take her, to use her against me, because they think she's yours." Emily truly looked at him then, this dangerous man who killed without hesitation, who commanded an empire of violence, was shaking because a baby had almost been abducted. "Adrien, why are you—" "I did this," his voice cracked. "I brought you into this world. I put her in danger. If they'd taken her, if they'd—" He stopped, his jaw clenching so tight that Emily could see the muscles jump. Lily's cries had softened to hiccuping sobs. Emily watched, stunned, as Adrien slowly, carefully reached out and touched Lily's tiny hand with one finger. Lily's fingers curled around his, an instinctive grasp. Adrien's expression shattered. "She trusts me," he whispered. "After everything, she still trusts me." Emily was speechless. This wasn't the cold mafia boss who'd upended her life. This was a man who had witnessed something innocent nearly destroyed because of him, and it had broken something deep inside. Footsteps thundered down the hallway. Vincent and the other council members arrived, guns drawn, surveying the horrific scene. "Sir, the party," Vincent began. "End it," Adrien commanded, his mask of control sliding back into place, though Emily had now seen beneath it. "Everyone leaves, full lockdown, triple the guard on this wing." "Adrien," Vincent started, but was cut short. "They came for my daughter." Adrien's roar echoed through the nursery. "They broke through 6 of my best men. They touched my child. I want to know who sent them, how they got in, and why my security failed." Vincent paled. "We'll find out." "You have 12 hours. Adrien's voice dropped to something lethal. "After that, I start killing people until I get answers." The council members scattered. Emily remained on the floor, holding Lily, watching Adrienne pace like a caged animal. Mrs. Chen groaned, still alive, clutching her shoulder. Adrien immediately called for the doctor, his voice remarkably gentle as he spoke to the injured woman. "You saved her," Emily murmured quietly. "If you hadn't come when you did, I should have been here sooner." Adrien turned to face her, his dark eyes haunted. "This is my world, Emily. This is what I brought you into. Every day you stay, every moment Lily's in this house, she's in danger. Then let us go." "I can't." His voice was raw. "If I let you go now, they'll hunt you forever. They truly believe she's mine. They think she's the Romano heir. Killing her becomes a strategic necessity." Emily looked down at Lily, who was finally calming in her arms. Her innocent, beautiful daughter, who had done nothing wrong except fall asleep on a plane next to the wrong man. "What have we done?" Emily whispered. Adrien knelt beside her again, and this time he didn't hesitate. He reached out and gently stroked Lily's cheek with the back of his knuckles, a gesture so tender it tightened Emily's throat. "We survived," he said softly, "and we'll keep surviving together." For the first time since this nightmare began, Emily believed him. Emily didn't sleep that night. She sat in a chair beside Lily's new crib, moved to a different room with reinforced doors and bulletproof windows. A dozen guards patrolled outside. It should have felt safe. It felt like a prison. The morning sun painted the estate in gold, and Emily finally allowed herself to feel the simmering rage that had been building since those men touched her daughter. She found Adrien in his study at 7 a.m., still in his blood-stained tuxedo, glass of whiskey in hand, staring blankly out the window. "This is your fault," Emily accused from the doorway. Adrien didn't turn. "I know. No, I don't think you do." Emily walked into the room, her hands clenched into fists. "My daughter almost died last night. They broke into her room. They put their hands on her. They were going to take her, and it's because of you." "Emily, don't Emily me." Her voice rose. "I was nobody. I was a waitress with a baby, trying to survive, trying to make rent, trying to give my daughter a normal life. And then I fell asleep on your shoulder for 3 hours, and now she's a target. Now there are men with guns hunting my baby because they think she's yours." Adrien finally turned, his face like granite. "Are you finished?" "No. I want to know why you didn't just tell them the truth from the beginning. Why you didn't hold a press conference or send out a statement, or do literally anything except drag us into your nightmare. You think the truth would have saved you?" Adrienne's voice was cold now, the vulnerability of last night completely gone. "You think I could have held a press conference and said, 'Sorry everyone, wrong woman, my mistake,' and they would have just let you go? Yes. Then you're even more naive than I thought." Adrien set down his glass with controlled precision. "The moment those men called you my bride, your fate was sealed. If I denied you, admitted the mistake. You know what would have happened. They would have killed you and Lily within the week just to send me a message, to prove I can be fooled, to show that I'm weak. So instead, you made us prisoners. I made you survivors." Adrien's control snapped. "You were dead, Emily, both of you. Dead on that plane or dead in your pathetic apartment in New York. I gave you life. I gave you protection. And yes, I put you in danger. But the danger was already there the moment you sat down next to me." Emily's eyes burned with unshed tears. "They would have killed you both if I hadn't intervened." "Is that supposed to make me grateful?" she challenged. "Am I supposed to thank you for saving us from a threat that only exists because of you?" "Yes." Adrien's voice dropped to something dangerous. "Yes, you are. Like it or not, I'm the only thing standing between your daughter and a bullet." Those chilling words hung heavy, a toxic shroud settling between them. Emily yearned to unleash a scream, to strike him, to snatch Lily and flee, erasing this nightmare from existence. But she was paralyzed. He was right. God help her. He was undeniably right. "I hate you," she whispered, the confession barely audible. A flicker crossed Adrien's eyes. Was it pain, or perhaps a resigned acceptance? Good. Hate keeps you sharp. Hate keeps you alive. He brushed past her, moving towards the door. "Where are you going?" Emily demanded. "To find out who sent those men," Adrien's voice was devoid of emotion, "and to kill everyone involved." 3 hours later, Emily discovered him in the nursery. She had been searching for Mrs. Chun to inquire about her recovery, and, on her return, noticed the nursery door ajar. Through the narrow opening, Adrien stood vigil over Lily's crib, simply watching her sleep. His shoulders slumped with utter exhaustion, his hands gripping the crib's edge so fiercely his knuckles gleamed white. Emily knew she should retreat, afford him this private moment. Instead, she gently pushed the door open and stepped inside. Adrien didn't turn, but his voice, soft as a caress, reached her. She looks so peaceful when she sleeps. Emily approached, positioning herself on the opposite side of the crib. Lily lay on her back, tiny fists curled near her face, blissfully unaware of the violence that had almost claimed her. "She's always been a good sleeper," Emily observed, "even as a newborn. The nurses said it was unusual." Adrien murmured, "She's lucky." He reached out, his hand hovering over Lily, yet he refrained from touching her. His hand trembled, shaking as if fear itself had taken root. "She's so small, so fragile. How do you stand it?" he questioned. "Stand what?" Emily asked. Knowing that the world could hurt her, that there are people who would, his voice fractured. He recoiled his hand, but the trembling intensified. "I've killed men without a second thought. I've ordered deaths. I've watched people beg for mercy and felt nothing. But last night, when I saw them holding her..." He finally met Emily's gaze, his eyes haunted. "My hands haven't stopped shaking," he confessed. "Every time I close my eyes, I see them taking her. Every time I sleep, I have nightmares about what would have happened if I'd been 10 seconds slower." Emily stared, mesmerized. This man, a figure of fear and violence, was unraveling over a baby who wasn't even his. "Why do you care so much?" she pressed. "She's not yours. You said it yourself. We're nobody." A lengthy silence stretched between them. Then, slowly, with deliberate care, Adrien reached out again. This time, his quivering hand brushed Lily's tiny foot, so gently it barely registered. Lily stirred, but remained asleep, her small toes reflexively curling around his finger. Adrien's breath caught. "I had a sister once," he revealed quietly. "Isabella. She was 5 years younger than me. She used to grab my finger just like this when she was a baby." His jaw tightened. "I was 17 when our enemies came for our family. They killed my father, my mother, and they took Isabella because they knew it would destroy me." Emily's heart ached. "Adrien, I never saw her again. 20 years, and I still don't know if she's alive or dead." His eyes were fixed on Lily, on that tiny foot enveloped by his finger. "Last night, when those men had her, all I could see was Isabella. All I could think was, not again, never again." He pulled away, his hand still trembling, and scrubbed it over his face. "You asked why I care," he stated, his voice rough. "That's why. Because I failed to protect someone innocent once, and I've spent 2 decades living with that guilt. I won't fail again." Emily felt her anger dissolving, replaced by a sentiment akin to pity, a dangerous emotion she fiercely resisted for this man she considered a monster. Yet, witnessing his vulnerability, the raw pain etched in his eyes as he trembled over her daughter, she couldn't help but yield. "I'm sorry," she whispered, "about your sister, about everything you lost." "Don't." Adrien's intimidating mask began to reform. "Don't feel sorry for me. I'm the reason you're in danger. You were right to be angry." "I'm still angry," Emily admitted, "but I'm also starting to understand. You're not keeping us here to use us. You're keeping us here because you're terrified of losing someone again." Adrien looked at her, and for a fleeting moment, the space between them pulsed with an unidentifiable energy. "Get some rest," he finally said. "Both of you, I've tripled security. No one gets near this room without my explicit permission." He moved towards the door, then paused. "Emily, you're wrong about one thing." He glanced back, his dark eyes intense. "You're not nobody, not anymore." Then he was gone, leaving Emily alone with her sleeping daughter and a turmoil of emotions she couldn't decipher. The council meeting was convened at noon the following day. Emily was not meant to be present, her designated place being her room with Lily, protected and oblivious. However, she had meticulously learned the estate's sprawling layout, discovered where the air vents carried sound, and pinpointed which hallways led to specific rooms. She stood in the adjoining office, the door ajar, and listened intently. This has gone too far. Adrian Vincent's stern voice cut through the air. That attack last night wasn't random, it was coordinated, professional. They bypassed our security as if it were nothing. I'm aware, Adrian's reply was glacial. Then you're also aware that the target was the child, added Marcus, one of the younger council members. You're a supposed heir. Every family on the East Coast now believes that baby is the future of the Romano Empire. Good, Adrian stated flatly. Let them believe it. Good? Vincent's voice escalated. Adrian, we have dead guards. We have a compromised security system. We have enemies circling like sharks because they smell weakness. All because of a woman you sat next to on a plane. Emily's hands clenched. She tried not to care what they thought, but hearing them discuss her as if she were a disposable problem ignited an inferno within her. She's not just some woman, Adrian's voice, now dangerous, interjected. She's under my protection. Protection we can't afford to give. Marcus slammed his hand on the table. Do you know how many resources we're burning keeping her alive? How many men we've had to pull from other operations? The Russo family is making moves in Brooklyn because half our soldiers are here playing babysitter. Then pull more men. I don't care. Adrian, listen to reason. Vincent's voice turned chillingly calculated. If she isn't really your bride, then cast her out. Send her away. Release a statement saying it was all a misunderstanding. Take the short-term embarrassment to end the long-term threat. And when they kill her and the baby the moment she leaves this estate, what then? Then that's unfortunate, Marcus said coldly. But not our problem. She made her bed when she fell asleep on your shoulder. We shouldn't have to die for her mistake. Emily felt a wave of nausea. Her child paints a target on all of us. Another council member, Antonio, who managed their New Jersey operations, voiced. Every day they're here. We're vulnerable. Our families are vulnerable. My wife is terrified to leave the house because she thinks someone will grab her to get leverage over you. Your wife is fine, Adrian asserted. Is she? Because last week someone followed her from the grocery store, left a note on her windshield that said, "Tell Adrian his bride's days are numbered." Antonio's voice quivered with anger. This isn't sustainable. You need to choose, the girl and her bastard child, or the family you've sworn to protect. The room fell silent. Emily held her breath, anticipating Adrian's capitulation, his yielding to tactical logic. They were right. She was a liability. Lily was a target. Their continued presence endangered more lives. Gentlemen, Adrian's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. I'm going to say this once, and only once. Emily Carter and her daughter are under my protection. They stay in this house. They stay under my guard. And anyone family, rival, or council member who touches them dies painfully. Am I clear? You're choosing her over us? Vincent sounded stunned. I'm choosing honor over cowardice. I'm choosing to protect someone innocent rather than throw her to the wolves to save myself embarrassment. Adrian's chair scraped back. And if any of you have a problem with that, the door is right there. Leave. Walk away. But know that if you do, you're dead to me. Adrian, you're not thinking clearly, Marcus attempted. This woman has gotten under your skin. Maybe it's because of your sister. The ominous sound of a gun cocking silenced him. Finish that sentence, Adrian said softly. Please. No one dared. Emily and Lily stay, Adrian continued. End of discussion. Now get out. All of you. Figure out how to fix our security. Find out who sent those assassins and stop whining about resources. We're the Romano family. We don't abandon people under our protection because it's inconvenient. Emily heard footsteps, the sound of men departing. But Vincent's voice returned, lower, intended solely for Adrian. You're making a mistake. This attachment will destroy you. Then I'll be destroyed. Now leave. The door slammed shut. Emily retreated from her hiding spot, her heart hammering. Adrian had just risked everything for her, for Lily. He had defied his entire council, men who had served his family for decades, choosing instead two strangers. Gratitude should have swelled within her. Instead, sheer terror gripped her, for she now understood they were not merely in danger from Adrian's enemies, but from his own people. Emily was in the garden that evening with Lily when Adrian found her. You heard, he stated, not questioning. The vents carry sound. Emily didn't look at him, continuing to push Lily in the designer stroller Mrs. Chun had painstakingly acquired. You shouldn't have done that. Done what? Chosen us over them. They're right. We're a liability. Every day we're here, we put your entire organization at risk. Adrien matched her pace, with guards trailing them at a slight distance, their weapons clearly visible. Even within his own garden, he required protection. They're scared now, Adrien noted. Fear often leads to foolish decisions. And they're right to be, Emily finally countered, meeting his gaze. How long before someone in your own inner circle decides we're more trouble than we're worth? How long until one of them strikes a deal with your adversaries, offering us up for peace? Adrien's jaw tightened. They wouldn't dare. Wouldn't they? You've heard Vincent. You've heard Marcus. They see you as vulnerable now, and they see me as your Achilles heel. Emily halted, turning to face him fully. Perhaps you should listen to them. Perhaps you should just let us go. We've discussed this. No, I mean, truly let us go. Stage our deaths, make everyone believe we've vanished. Then you can move forward, and Lily and I can find safety somewhere. Adrien stared at her. There is no safe place. Not for you, not anymore. There has to be. Emily, he gripped her shoulders, compelling her to meet his eyes. Hear me out. If you leave this estate, you're dead. If I fake your death, someone will still come searching for undeniable proof. And when they discover you alive, they'll kill you for real, simply to make me look like a fool. Your only chance, Lily's only chance, is to remain here under my protection until I eliminate every single person who wants you dead. And how long will that take? As long as it takes. Emily felt a burning sensation in her eyes. This isn't fair. Lily never asked for this. She's just a baby. I know, Adrien's voice softened. His thumbs gently brushed her shoulders, almost tenderly. I know it's not fair. I know you didn't choose this life, but it's the only one you have now. Because of you. Yes, because of me. He didn't shy away from her accusation. I won't apologize for keeping you alive, but I will make you this promise. I will find everyone responsible for targeting you. I will eradicate this threat, and when it's truly over, when it's genuinely safe, I'll provide you with enough resources to disappear anywhere in the world. You and Lily can finally have the normal life you've always wanted. You'd actually let us go? Something flickered in his eyes, pain, regret, an emotion Emily couldn't quite identify. When you're safe, yes. Emily scrutinized his face, searching for any hint of deceit, but found only grim determination and that peculiar vulnerability he reserved exclusively for Lily. What if that day never arrives? She whispered. Adrien remained silent for a long moment. Then he said, Then I suppose you're stuck with me. It ought to have sounded like a menace. Instead, it bore the weight of an almost sacred vow. Emily had been residing in the mansion for 2 weeks when she stumbled upon Adriene's astonishing secret. It was barely past dawn, with the early morning light just breaking through. Lily had awakened with cries, and after feeding her, Emily found herself too restless to fall back asleep. She drifted towards the window overlooking the east courtyard, an area the guard had emphatically stated was off-limits to everyone but Adrien. And there he was, Adrien Romano, the most feared man on the East Coast, seated on a stone bench, surrounded by dogs. Emily counted 5 of them, strays by the looks of it. A 3-legged mutt, a scarred pit bull, a terrier afflicted with mange, and 2 puppies that appeared to have survived by scavenging their short lives. Adrien was feeding them by hand, whispering softly, his movements gentle and patient. The 3-legged dog rested its head on his knee. The pit bull, a breed often associated with aggression, rolled onto its back, inviting a belly rub. Emily watched, mesmerized, as this man, known for his ruthless efficiency, scratched behind a puppy's ears and, startlingly, smiled. He actually smiled when the puppy licked his face. He does this every morning, Mrs. Chen's voice startled her from behind. Has for years. He finds strays in the city and brings them here. The vet comes twice a week. He covers all the expenses, food, medicine, surgeries. That 3-legged one? Adrien found him after he was hit by a car. Spent $30,000 on the surgery. Why? Emily whispered. He never says, Mrs. Chen paused, choosing her words carefully. But I believe he sees himself in them. Abandoned, scarred, surviving against insurmountable odds. Emily felt an inexplicable shift within her chest. That afternoon, Emily visited the nursery to check on Lily after her nap. The door stood ajar, and she heard a voice from within. It was Adrienne's voice, yet devoid of the cold, authoritative tone he used with everyone else. This voice was soft, almost lyrical. Emily peered through the crack. Adrienne sat in the rocking chair, Lily cradled against his chest. She was awake, gazing up at him with wide-eyed wonder as he sang to her, a lullaby in Italian, his voice low and surprisingly tender. Stella, Stellina. Lily's tiny hand had wrapped around his finger, and she cooed softly, captivated by his presence. "You're safe here, little one," Adrienne murmured between verses, switching to English. "I know you don't understand, but I promise you, no one will ever hurt you, not while I'm alive." He pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. "You and your mother, you've changed everything. Do you realize that?" Lily made a happy gurgling sound. Adrienne laughed, a genuine laugh. It was soft, almost rusty, as if he hadn't produced such a sound in years. "Yeah? You think that's funny? Your mama would probably tell me I'm the reason you're in danger in the first place, and she'd be right. But I'm going to fix it, I promise." Emily's throat tightened. She should announce her presence, should step inside, but she found herself immobilized, unable to breathe, able to do nothing but simply watch this formidable man cradle her daughter as if she were made of delicate glass. "My sister used to look at me the way you do," Adrienne continued softly, "like I was her entire world, like I could solve any problem. I failed her, but I won't fail you. Even if your mama hates me forever, even if this all ends badly, I will keep you safe." Lily yawned, her eyes drooping. "Tired again already?" Adrien adjusted her in his arms, resuming the lullaby, his voice caressing the Italian words, and within minutes, Lily was fast asleep against his chest. But he didn't put her down. He just sat there, holding her, his eyes closed, looking more at peace than Emily had ever witnessed. She retreated quietly, her heart pounding for reasons she dared not analyze. 3 days later, Emily found herself in Adrien's study. He had summoned her to discuss new security protocols, but upon her arrival, he stood by the window, his shoulders tense. "You wanted to see me?" Emily inquired. Adrien didn't turn. "Do you ever wonder what your life would have been like if you'd chosen a different seat on that plane?" The question caught her off guard. "Every single day. Would you have gotten the job in Chicago?" "Probably not. I wasn't qualified. I was desperate." Emily moved closer. "Why are you asking?" "Because I destroyed your life." Adrien's voice was flat. "You should have had the chance to fail on your own terms, to struggle and perhaps succeed, to give Lily a normal childhood. Instead, you got me. You also saved our lives from a threat that exists because of me. That's not salvation, that's just less guilt." Emily studied his reflection in the window. He appeared utterly exhausted. Dark shadows clung beneath his eyes. Tension rippled through every line of his body, burdened by the weight of protecting them, of defying his counsel, of battling enemies on all fronts. It was crushing him. "When was the last time you slept?" she asked. "Sleep is for people who don't have enemies." Adrien's voice hardened. "I killed a man today." He stated it so casually. "One of my own soldiers. He was planning to hand you and Lily over to the Vitali family in exchange for territory in Manhattan. Vincent found out, brought him to me, and I put a bullet in his head." Emily's blood ran cold. "I didn't ask you to do that. You didn't have to. He threatened what's mine. That's all that matters." Finally, Adrien turned to face her. "Do you know what the worst part is?" "What?" "I didn't feel anything. No remorse, no guilt, nothing. He was a problem, so I eliminated him. That's what I am, Emily. That's what this world makes you. A monster who kills without feeling." "But you do feel things," Emily said softly. "I've seen you with Lily, with the dogs. You're not a monster." "Yes, I am. I just hide it better around her." "No." Emily stepped closer, close enough to discern the flecks of gold in his dark eyes. "Monsters don't feed stray dogs. Monsters don't sing lullabies. Monsters don't look at a baby that isn't theirs and promise to protect her with their last breath." Adrien stared at her. "You were watching me. You were being human. It's hard to miss." Something shifted in the air between them. Adrien's gaze dropped to her lips, then flickered back to her eyes. The space separating them felt charged, dangerous in a way that bore no relation to violence. "You should go," Adrien said roughly. "Before I do something we'll both regret." Emily knew she should heed his words, should turn and walk away. This man was perilous, complex, the architect of all her current woes. Yet he was also solitary, burdened, striving so desperately to protect them, despite the immense personal cost. "What if I don't regret it?" The words escaped her lips before she could stop them. Adrien's eyes darkened. "Emily, I'm not saying I've forgiven you. I'm not saying I'm not still angry, but I'm also not blind. I see how you are with Lily. I see you feeding those dogs as if they are your salvation. I see you carrying the immense weight of keeping us alive, and it's—" She paused, unsure how to articulate the rest. "It's what? It's breaking you, and somehow that makes you more human than anyone else in this place." Adrien closed the distance between them in a single stride. His hand moved to cup her face, his thumb gently brushing her cheekbone. "You deserve better than me." "Probably." Emily's heart raced. "But I'm stuck with you anyway." Emily. Her name uttered like a fervent prayer and a stark warning. "If we do this, if we cross this line, there's no turning back. Maybe I don't want to go back." For a moment, she thought he would kiss her. His face was so close, his breath warm against her lips, his eyes burning with an intensity that made her knees weak. Then Lily's cry pierced the air from upstairs, causing them to spring apart as if scalded. Adrien recoiled, his customary aloof expression settling back into place. "You should check on her," he suggested. Emily nodded, her cheeks aflame. "Right. Yes, I should." She fled the room, her pulse hammering, leaving Adrien isolated in his study, looking utterly bereft, as though he'd just lost something he never truly possessed. The package arrived 3 days later during breakfast. Emily was in the dining room, coaxing Lily to eat mashed bananas, when Adrien burst in, followed by Vincent and Marcus. His face was a mask of stone. "Emily, take Lily upstairs now." The sheer authority in his voice sent a chill down her spine. "What's wrong?" Emily asked. She quickly gathered Lily, but not fast enough. As she reached the doorway, Vincent blocked her path. "She stays," Vincent stated, his voice frigid. "She needs to hear this." Adrien's eyes blazed with dangerous intensity. "Vincent, the council has been summoned for an emergency session. She's the subject." Vincent's gaze pierced Emily like a blade. "She deserves to know what's coming." 10 minutes later, Emily stood in Adrien's conference room, cradling a fussy Lily, surrounded by 15 impeccably dressed men who regarded her as if she were already condemned. A manila envelope lay on the table. "This arrived this morning," Vincent announced to the room, "delivered by the Castellano family with their compliments." He opened the envelope, fanning its contents across the table. Hospital records, birth certificates, background checks. Emily's entire life was laid bare. "Emily Marie Carter," Vincent read aloud. "Born March 15th, 1999, Newark Medical Center. Father, unknown. Mother, Linda Carter, died of cancer 2 years ago. Emily worked as a waitress at 3 different establishments over the past 5 years. Pregnant at 25. Father of child never identified. No college education, no assets, no connection whatsoever to Adrien Romano or his family, until she sat next to him on a flight 2 weeks ago. The room erupted in chaos. "She's not his bride! We've been played! This is a humiliation!" "Silence!" Adrien's roar sliced through the pandemonium. He stood at the head of the table, emanating restrained fury. "How did the Castellanos obtain this information?" "Does it matter?" Marcus slammed his hand down. "It's real. It's documented. Birth records don't lie, Adrien. She's not your fiancée. She never was. You dragged us into a war over a stranger." "We knew she might not be," Adrien began. "We hoped she was," Vincent interrupted. "We hoped there was some secret engagement, some hidden relationship that justified all of this. But there's nothing. She's exactly what she appears to be, a poor single mother who fell asleep in the wrong seat." All eyes turned to Emily. She felt utterly exposed. Every shameful detail of her difficult existence spread out for these powerful men to scrutinize. The evictions, the debt, the father she'd never known, the baby's father she refused to name because he'd been a mistake, a one-night stand born of loneliness and desperation. "Is it true?" Marcus demanded. "Did you just randomly sit next to Adrien? Was this all a coincidence?" Emily's arms tightened around Lily. "Yes." "Speak up." "Yes!" Emily's voice cracked. "Yes, it's true. I never claimed to be his bride. You all assumed, and Adrien said it was safer to play along, so I did. But I never—" Her voice broke. "I'm just a mother who fell asleep on a plane. That's all. That's all I ever was." The room fell silent. Then Vincent spoke, his voice chillingly cold. "Then she dies." Emily's world reeled. "We've lost men protecting her," Vincent continued. "We've made enemies, weakened our position, shown vulnerability, all for a lie. The other families are laughing at us. They're calling Adrien soft. They're saying he's lost his edge over some random woman with a baby. I didn't ask for any of this." Emily's voice rose, desperate. "I didn't want your protection. I didn't want to be here. Adrien dragged me into this." "Then he can drag you back out," Marcus scoffed. "You're talking about murder," Emily whispered, horror washing over her. "We're talking about damage control." Antonio stood up. "Every day she lives, we look weaker. The solution is simple. We eliminate the problem. We tell everyone she was an imposter, a con artist who fooled Adrien. We make an example of her. Our reputation recovers." "And the child?" someone asked. Emily's heart stopped. "Collateral damage," Marcus said with a shrug. "Can't have witnesses. Besides, a bastard child of unknown parentage has no value to us." "No!" Emily stumbled backward toward the wall, clutching Lily to her chest. "You can't. She's innocent. She's a baby. She's a liability." Vincent turned to Adrien. "You know this is the only way? One death, maybe two, to save the entire organization. It's not even a difficult choice." Adrien hadn't stirred, hadn't uttered a word. He stood at the head of the table like a statue, his face inscrutable, his hands braced on the wood. "Adrien," Emily pleaded, tears streaming down her face. "Please, I know you're angry. I know this is a mess, but please don't let them hurt Lily. She's done nothing wrong. If you have to kill someone, kill me, but let her live. Please, I'm begging you." "The council has voted," Vincent announced. "Execution, both of them tonight, quick and clean. Adrien, unless you have an objection." "I object." Adrien's voice cut through the room like a sharp blade. Vincent's eyes narrowed. "On what grounds?" "On the grounds that they're under my protection. On the grounds that I gave my word. On the grounds that I'm still head of this family, and what I say goes." "Your protection is the problem," Marcus bellowed. "You're choosing her over us, over the family, over everything we've built. I'm choosing honor over murder. It's not murder if she deserves it. She deserves nothing." Adrien's fist slammed down on the table with thunderous force. "She's an innocent woman who made the mistake of sitting in the wrong seat. Her daughter is 6 months old. They pose no threat. They've done nothing wrong, and I will not execute them to save face." "Then you're weak," Vincent said quietly. "And weak leaders don't last long in our world." The threat hung heavy in the air. Emily realized with dawning horror what was unfolding. The council wasn't just threatening her anymore. They were threatening Adrien, too. If he didn't give them what they wanted, they'd remove him, one way or another. "I'm taking them upstairs," Adrien said, his voice lethally calm. "We're done here." "We're not done," Marcus began. "Yes, we are." Adrien's gun was out so swiftly Emily barely registered the movement. He didn't point it at anyone. It hung loosely at his side, but the message was unmistakable. "This meeting is over. Everyone out. You have 12 hours to remember who you work for." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. Slowly, reluctantly, they filed out. Vincent was the last to leave. At the door, he turned back. 12 hours, Adrien. Then we're taking a vote. And if you're no longer fit to lead." He left the sentence unfinished. He didn't have to. The door closed. Emily was trembling so violently she could barely stand. "They're going to kill us. All of us." Adrien holstered his gun and crossed to her. His hands gripped her shoulders, steady and firm. "No one is killing anyone," he said. "I won't let them. You heard them? They think you're weak. They're planning a coup. Let them try." Adrien's eyes burned into hers. "I've faced worse than a bunch of old men scared of change. I'll handle the council. You just worry about keeping Lily safe." "How? How can you handle this? They have proof. They have votes. Emily." He cupped her face, forcing her to meet his gaze. "Do you trust me?" "I don't know." she whispered honestly. Then trust this. I've never broken a promise to your daughter, and I'm not starting now. Adrien did not come to the nursery that night. Emily sat in the rocking chair, holding Lily, meticulously listening to every footstep in the hallway, every distant voice, every sound that might signal their approach. The 12 hours Vincent had allotted were steadily dwindling. She had packed a bag, just essentials, diapers, formula, a change of clothes, as if fleeing would make a difference. As if there were anywhere in the world she could truly hide from these men. Around midnight, she heard it. A soft knock. "It's me." Adrien's voice came through the door. Emily's heart leaped. "Come in." He entered quietly, closing the door behind him. He looked utterly spent, his shirt untucked, his hair disheveled, with dark shadows under his eyes that hadn't been there that morning. He had clearly been fighting for her. She could see it in every line of his weary body. "Is it done?" Emily whispered. "Did they?" "We need to talk." Adrien moved to the window, gazing out at the darkened grounds below. Guards patrolled with flashlights and rifles. Privately, "Can Mrs. Chin watch Lily?" Fear surged through Emily's chest. "Why? What's happening?" "Please, Emily." Mrs. Chin appeared as if summoned, likely having waited in the hall. She gently took Lily, the baby barely stirring, and disappeared into the adjoining room. Emily stood, her legs unsteady. "Tell me." Adrien remained silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was rough. "The council gave me an ultimatum. Either I expel you and Lily by dawn, or they call for a vote of no confidence. If I lose, they remove me as head of the family. If I win, there's still a civil war. People will die. Our organization will tear itself apart." Emily's stomach plummeted. "So, you're sending us away? That's one option? What's the other?" "I keep you here. I defy them, and I fight." Adrien turned to face her. "But if I fight, people die. My people, families get caught in the crossfire. And it's all because I won't give up a woman who was never supposed to be here in the first place." The words struck her like a physical blow. "You're right," Emily said, her voice shaking. "I was never supposed to be here. This was never my world. So, let me go. Let me take Lily and disappear. You can tell them you expelled us. Tell them we're dead. Tell them whatever you need to tell them. They'll hunt you. Then I'll run faster, Emily." Her eyes burned with unshed tears. "No, don't you see? This is your chance. You can return to your own life, preserve your power, keep your family intact. All you need to do is release us." Adrien traversed the room in 3 swift steps, his hands gripping her arms firmly, not harshly, yet with a desperate intensity. "I can't," he rasped, his voice rough. "Why not?" "Because they will kill you," he said, his voice cracking. "Do you believe I'm unaware of that? Do you think I haven't meticulously considered every possibility, every outcome? If I permit you to walk out that door, you'll be dead within a week, perhaps even sooner. And Lily—" He paused, jaw clenching. "They'll seize Lily merely to make a statement, to demonstrate my weakness, to prove that nothing under my protection endures." "You don't know that," she countered. "I do know that." Adrien's eyes were now wild, his carefully maintained composure crumbling. "This is my domain, Emily. I comprehend precisely how these men operate. I know what they will do, and I simply cannot—" His voice dropped to a whisper. "I cannot bear witness to another innocent life lost because of me." It was then that Emily perceived it, the gnawing guilt that haunted him, the sister he had lost, the solemn promise he had made to Lily, the burden of too many deaths upon his conscience. "You were never meant to be involved," Adrien continued, his tone softening. His hands slid upward to cup her face, his thumbs gently wiping away tears she hadn't realized were falling. "You were supposed to board that plane, fall asleep, awaken in Chicago, and continue your normal, challenging, beautiful life. Instead, you encountered me. You stumbled into this nightmare, and I despise myself for it." "Then let us go," Emily whispered. "I can't." His forehead pressed against hers, his warm breath caressing her lips. "God help me, Emily, I cannot release you." "Why?" Her hands rose, gripping his wrists, feeling his pulse throb beneath her fingertips. "Why won't you just choose your family? Choose your power? Choose survival? Because I already did. His voice was raw, unvarnished, stripped of all pretense. The moment I held Lily on that plane, the moment I witnessed you confront those assassins to shield her, the moment I grasped that you were no longer merely a stranger. His eyes opened, dark and burning. You are mine now, both of you, and I do not abandon what is mine, even if it brings about your destruction. Even then, he reiterated. Emily gazed at him, this enigmatic man who effortlessly took lives yet fed stray dogs. He ruled through fear, but sang lullabies to infants now opting for her, for them, above everything he had painstakingly constructed. I'm afraid, she confessed. So am I. What if they come for us? What if they triumph? Then I will die protecting you, he declared, so simply as if it were a foregone conclusion. But I will not die easily, and I will not die alone. Emily felt a profound shift within her. Fear lingered, sharp and chilling, but something else also grew alongside it, something that felt dangerously akin to trust, to security, to belonging. This is madness, she whispered. Yes, we could all perish, most likely. You're risking everything for someone you barely know. I know enough. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I know your courage. I know you'd sacrifice your life for your daughter. I know you perceive me as a monster, yet you permitted me to hold her nonetheless. I know you're stronger than anyone in that council room, and I know that letting you go would haunt me for the remainder of my days. Emily's breath hitched. The space separating them crackled with an electric, perilous, inevitable energy. Adrien! The door burst open. Vincent stood there, his gun drawn, flanked by 3 other council members. Time's up, Vincent stated coldly. We're holding a vote now. Adrien stepped in front of Emily, his body forming a shield. I allotted you 12 hours, he reminded them, and we've decided we've waited long enough. Vincent's gun remained steady. Come quietly, Adrien. Do not make this more difficult than it needs to be. You're truly doing this? Adrien's voice was lethally calm. You're orchestrating a coup. We're preserving the family from you. Vincent's eyes briefly flickered to Emily. And from her. Emily's hands trembled. This was it. The moment everything would unravel. Adrien's hand moved toward his gun. Don't, Vincent warned. You're outnumbered, outgunned. It's over. But Adrien smiled. That chilling, terrible smile Emily had witnessed on the plane. The smile of a man who had already ordained the ending. Over? Adrien chuckled softly. Vincent, it's just beginning. Then all hell broke loose. Adrien moved first, his gun clearing its holster in a blur. Vincent's shot went wide, intentionally, Emily realized. He wasn't aiming to kill Adrien. He sought to intimidate him. A grave miscalculation. Adrien's bullet struck Vincent in the shoulder, spinning him around. The other 3 council members scattered, shouting, scrambling for cover. Go! Adrien roared at Emily. Get Lily! And the window exploded inward. Glass shards sprayed everywhere. Emily screamed, dropping to the floor as masked men repelled through the opening. Not just one window, but every window, every door, flooding the hallway outside. This wasn't a council coup. This was a full-scale assault. Protect the child! Someone bellowed in Italian. No, not protect! Kill! Adrien shot 2 attackers before they even hit the ground, but more kept coming. Too many. Far too many. Emily, run! Adrien's voice cut through the chaos. Emily scrambled toward the adjoining room where Mrs. Chun had Lily. Bullets tore through the walls around her. She heard Adrien firing, heard men screaming, heard the terrible sounds of hand-to-hand combat. She burst through the door, finding Mrs. Chun already clutching Lily, tears streaming down her face. The tunnel, Mrs. Chun gasped. Behind the bookshelf. Adrien showed me in case. An explosion rocked the mansion. The lights flickered and died. Emergency lighting illuminated the scene in an eerie red glow. Emily snatched Lily from Mrs. Chun's arms. Her daughter was screaming now, terrified by the incessant noise. Emily pressed her close, whispering desperately, It's all right, baby. Mama's here. Mama's got you. She heard Adrien in the other room, still fighting. How many were there? 10? 20? Mrs. Chun pushed the bookshelf aside, revealing a narrow passage. "Go! I'll seal it behind you." A bullet struck Mrs. Chun in the back. She crumpled forward into Emily's arms, blood spreading across her gray dress. "No!" Emily sobbed. "No, no, no!" "Go!" Mrs. Chun wheezed, blood bubbling at her lips. "Protect her." Then she went still. Emily choked back a scream. She had to move, had to run, had to save Lily. She plunged into the tunnel, clutching her crying daughter, stumbling in the darkness. Behind her, she heard the bookshelf crash down. Someone had discovered the passage. The tunnel was narrow, claustrophobic. Emily ran blindly, one hand against the rough wall, the other cradling Lily. Her daughter's screams reverberated off the stone. Footsteps echoed behind her, growing closer. The tunnel opened into a wine cellar. Emily burst through, gasping, frantically searching for an exit. There, stairs leading upwards. She took them two at a time, her legs burning. At the top, a locked door. "No, no, no!" Emily slammed her shoulder against it. Pain shot through her arm, but the door remained immobile. The footsteps in the tunnel grew louder. Emily looked around frantically. Wine racks, bottles, nothing she could use as a weapon while holding Lily. She retreated into a corner, positioning her body to fully shield her daughter. If they wanted Lily, they would have to go through her. A figure emerged from the tunnel, not a masked attacker, but Marcus, the young council member with slicked back hair. He held a gun. "You," Emily breathed. "You did this. You betrayed Adrien." Marcus smiled coldly. "Betrayal requires loyalty. I was never loyal to a man who chose an American and her bastard over the family. Where's Adrien? Fighting 6 of the Vitali family's finest men. He might even win. Adrien is hard to kill, but it doesn't matter." Marcus raised his gun. "I made a deal. I give them the Vitali heir and the baby. They give me control of the Romano territory. Everyone wins except us. You were never supposed to win." Marcus's finger tightened on the trigger. "Nothing personal, just business." The door behind Emily exploded open. Adrien stood there, caked in blood, his own and others. His left arm hung uselessly at his side, bleeding profusely from a deep gash. His face was a mask of fury and pain, but he was alive, and he held a gun. "Marcus," Adrien said, his voice eerily calm, "step away from them." "You're too late," Marcus countered. "The Vitalis are in the mansion. Your guards are dead. Your council is scattered. It's over, Adrien. You lost." "I never lose." Adrien shot him, not to kill, for that would have been mercy. He shot Marcus in both knees, dropping him to the floor with a scream. Then he crossed the cellar in 3 strides, stepped over Marcus's writhing body, and pulled Emily and Lily into his arms. "Are you hurt?" His hands frantically moved over her, checking for injuries. "Emily, talk to me." "I'm okay. We're okay." Emily was shaking so violently she could barely stand. "Mrs. Chun, she's dead. She saved us, and they killed her." "I know." Adrian's voice cracked. "I know, but you're alive. Lily's alive. That's what matters." An explosion somewhere above them rattled dust from the ceiling. "We have to move," Adrien stated. "This entire wing is compromised. They're attempting to trap us down here." "How many are there?" "Too many. 20, perhaps 30. Marcus provided them with access codes, patrol schedules, everything." Adrian's eyes were feral. "But they made one mistake." "What?" "They forgot who I am." Adrien led them through the wine cellar to another passage, this one leading to an underground garage. They moved swiftly despite Adrian's injuries. Blood dripped from his arm with every step, leaving a crimson trail behind them. The garage contained 6 cars. Adrien went straight to an armored SUV, shattering the window with his gun. But when the key fob failed to work, he realized Marcus must have disabled the security system. "Get in the back," Adrien ordered. "Lie down with Lily. Don't sit up, no matter what you hear." Emily obeyed, curling around her daughter on the floor. Lily's cries had subsided to whimpers. Adrien hot-wired the SUV, apparently, a necessary skill for Mafia bosses. The engine roared to life with a primal scream. "Hold on tight," he commanded, then violently shattered the garage door. Almost immediately, a hail of bullets riddled the SUV's exterior. The windshield fractured into a spiderweb pattern, yet miraculously held, revealing its bulletproof resilience. Emily instinctively clamped her hands over Lily's ears as Adrien, with a reckless disregard for control, swerved erratically, tires shrieking in protest, hurtling toward the main exit. Men armed with rifles aggressively attempted to obstruct their relentless advance, but Adrien remained unyielding. He struck two of them dead on, the immense SUV barely shuddering from the impact. The reinforced steel gate presented an insurmountable barrier. "Adrien!" Emily gasped, her voice edged with terror. "I know," he responded, his jaw set. He floored the accelerator without hesitation. The collision was cataclysmic, a symphony of tortured metal. The airbags deployed with brutal force, slamming into Adrien's already wounded body. Yet, against all odds, the formidable gate buckled, twisted, and finally gave way. They had breached the perimeter. Adrien pressed on, a grim determination etched on his blood-streaked face. His breathing grew shallow, labored, and the SUV veered precariously. "Adrien, we need to get you to a hospital," Emily pleaded, her voice cracking. "Can't," he rasped. "They'll be watching every hospital. I have to get you somewhere safe first." "But you're dying!" she cried, desperation rising. "Not yet," he countered, meeting her panicked gaze in the rearview mirror. Despite the gore, the agony, and the insurmountable odds, a faint smile touched his lips. "I made you a promise, remember? I always keep my promises." Immediately then, without another word, he lost consciousness. The SUV careened off the road, plowed through a dilapidated fence, and finally came to a halt in a desolate field. A chilling silence descended, punctuated only by Lily's soft whimpers and Emily's ragged, terrified breaths. They had escaped, but at what an unbearable cost! "Adrien!" Emily cried out, shaking him violently. Her hands came away stained with his blood. "Adrien, wake up!" He remained unresponsive, his breathing alarmingly shallow, his face a pale mask. The gaping wound on his arm continued to bleed profusely, saturating his shirt. Emily's hands trembled as she desperately sought his pulse. It was faint, but miraculously steady. For now, he was alive. Lily's sobs intensified, responding to her mother's spiraling panic. Emily clutched her daughter tightly, struggling to think coherently through the paralyzing fear. They were stranded in the middle of nowhere, countless miles from the mansion. Her phone was gone, lost somewhere during the escape. No help was coming. She had to stem the bleeding. Emily tore strips from her elegant silk dress, the very fabric that had made her look like a Mafia bride just hours before. She tightly wrapped Adrien's arm, applying firm pressure to slow the relentless flow of blood. His eyelids fluttered but remained firmly closed. "Please," she whispered, her voice a desperate plea. "Please don't die. Not after everything we've endured. Not when we just—" Suddenly, blinding headlights pierced the inky blackness. Emily's blood ran cold. Two vehicles, moving with terrifying speed, were rapidly approaching across the field. They had been followed. "No!" she breathed, a desperate mantra. "No! No! No!" She frantically tried to rouse Adrien again, harder this time, slapping his pallid face. "Adrien, they're coming! Adrien, please!" His eyes fluttered open, unfocused and distant. "Emily," he whispered, "they found us. We have to run." "You can't run!" Emily exclaimed, as Adrien tried to sit up, stifling a gasp of pain. "Help me out," he managed to say. "I'll buy you time." "You can barely stand," Emily protested, but she helped him out of the SUV, supporting his considerable weight. He could barely manage to stay upright, his body weak and unresponsive. Blood flowed steadily from his numerous wounds, crimson rivulets marking his descent. The vehicle skidded to a halt 50 yards away. Doors swung open, and 6 armed men emerged, figures of menace in the darkness. "There!" one of them shouted, his voice cutting through the night. "The woman and the baby!" Adrien instinctively pushed Emily behind him, raising his pistol with his uninjured arm. It trembled violently, a stark testament to his rapidly failing strength. "Run!" he commanded, his voice strained. "Take Lily and run! There's a road a half-mile north." "I'm not leaving you!" Emily cried, her voice defiant. "You have to. Adrienne's voice was raw with desperation. "For her! Please, Emily, give me this. Let me save you." The men advanced, their weapons raised menacingly. Emily recognized one of them, a Vitali soldier she had seen at an engagement party. "Adrien Romano!" the soldier bellowed. "You're finished. Step aside and let us have the girl and the baby. Do that, and we'll make your death quick." "Come and take them!" Adrien snarled back, the words a guttural challenge. He fired, but the shot went wide. His hand was shaking too violently. The Vitali soldiers unleashed a barrage of gunfire. Adrien shoved Emily to the ground, shielding her and Lily with his own body. Bullets ripped through the air above them. Emily felt Adrien jerk as one struck him, in the shoulder, she thought, or perhaps the chest. "Adrien, stay down!" He rolled off them, returning fire. This time, his shot found its mark. One soldier collapsed, but 5 remained, fanning out, encircling them. Adrien attempted to stand, but his legs gave out. He collapsed to one knee, still firing, his face a mask of agony and unwavering resolve. Another soldier fell, leaving 4, but Adriana's weapon clicked, an empty chamber. Emily heard the chilling sound. The Vitali soldiers closed in, their faces twisted into triumphant smiles. "Nowhere to run now," one sneered, raising not a gun, but a knife.